We're going where you want to go so you can be where you need to be. It's Road Gang Radio with Lindsay, Lawler, and Jimmy Mack on RadioNemo.com.
Welcome back to Road Gang Radio. That's Jimmy Mack. I'm Lindsay Lawler, phone master Dre on the ones and the twos and keeping us on air. And Jimmy, are you ready to get twisted?
I'm ready to get twisted. Quick note, by the way, our friend BB the King is over in Copenhagen. Just sent me a picture he took from Nemo Land. Just sent me a photo from Nemo Land pointing at the sign above his head. I'll get that posted later on. Speaking of twisted, this Barbwire in Texas Route 66 museum has been open for over 30 years. It was started when Barbwire collectors wanted a central location to display their collections. Delbert and Ruth Trew, members of the Barbwire Association and local historians, helped them find, set up, and run the museum. I don't want to get into the history here because I want our guests to tell us about the history. I want people to go to barbwiremuseum.com, find them on the Book of Face at Devil's Rope Barbwire Museum, and go to Instagram at Devil's Rope Museum. I want you to give a big old road gang welcome, Lindsay, to Leigh Anne Isbell, Curator and Manager of the Devil's Rope Barbwire Museum in McLean, Texas. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, friend. Glad to have you. I'm from Texas as well, so I'm in Nashville, but I'm from there, so nice to have some company around here. And I'm going to give you 3 choices of what you want your segment to be called today. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay. You can Tangled Tales, the barbed wire that bound the West, Twisted History, from Fences to Freedom, or Hooked on History inside the Devil's Rope Museum. So Tangled Tales, Twisted History, or Hooked on History. What you feeling?
Hooked on history. It's kind of like something we already use.
Oh, good. Well, good. Then we're playing off it. All right. Hooked on history. Well, we're glad to have you today. And I'm going to start with the dumb question, Jim.
Lindsay's dumb question of the day, number 1.
Has anybody ever gotten hooked while they're there? Okay, I'm going to guess that the barbed wire, because my sister did get caught on barbed wire growing up, and she has a scar to prove it on her arm. Is there tight security, so to speak, at the Barbed Wire Museum so that dum-dums don't themselves get hooked?
Well, when you first walk in, there is a big old sign with a cowboy getting a shot, reminding you that if you do get touched and get cut, you would end up having to get a tetanus shot. So we hope that the sign kind of warns people off.
Okay, good.
I love it, by the way. And you asked about history, hooked on history. This really is, in many ways, it's Lindsay and I were talking about before you came on. You could make a case that at its most basic level, the history of barbed wire in many ways is the history of the American experience of land, of independence, of carving out your own territory, of how to protect yourself. I mean, it really is. There's a lot of history to be gleaned from the simple concept of barbed wire, but it's much more than that. Can you kind of talk about how one could actually interpret history through barbed wire? Can you do it?
Oh, I can try. Mr. Trew is so much better at this than I am. He always said it was the wire that tamed the West, because you had all these people out there that had free range, which there's nothing wrong with free range, but they were all traveling, trying to find, spaces for themselves to make homes. And so with the invention of the barbed wire, it kind of helped them keep their animals in place. It allowed them to settle into one section, and start building homes. And then from the farms and the homes, come the towns and the population. And, it just kind of went from there. We'd like to say that it's, something to help kind of tame the West. There's a lot of connotations. Some people like it, some people don't. But I think as far as history, it's something that's very important. They used it for many different things. It wasn't just to surround your land and claim it as your own. They used it for planting their seeds. They used it for telephone wires whenever they were doing the telegraph to get, the communication out there with people.
Crazy. I didn't realize it was used for telegraphs, Lindsay, by the way. I had no idea that it had that kind of extensive view. And by the way, it comes in all shapes and sizes. It's Lindsay, were you aware of this, by the way, that there isn't like one standard kind of barbed wire, that there's like
I'm
endless
listen,
options?
I know barbed wire history. No, of course I was aware of that. No, I did have at one point. I did see at one point little barbed wire earrings. By the way, a long time ago in Texas, they probably weren't real, but they were like a little dangle, which got me to thinking. Oh, Oh, we can cut because you could just. Yes, it's all sizes because you could cut it as well, Jim. I guess I'm saying. But
Yes.
Do you sell barbed wire
size.
jewelry and do you have a gift shop and do you sell barbed wire jewelry?
We do have a gift shop. There is some jewelry. We were trying to get some things in, but right now I just sell pieces of the wire because to collect, you have to have, I think it's about 12 inches as a collector's piece. So we have a bunch of different styles of that. So they have the regular bob wire that most people see. They have ribbon wire, which is more decorative. They have war wire, which is the razor wire, which is a little bit sharper. So we sell the wire itself for people to buy. I've been trying to get in different types of jewelry. We did have earrings at one time they were talking about. I personally have some that I had gotten from another shop that are the shape of Texas. Then I have another pair that's in the shape of a heart. So it's kind of an imitation wire to make it look like it. But, yeah, we do have a couple of different things. I think we have bracelets right now, and there's big giant balls of wire that you can get. They're actually I think it's plastic, but to kind of give you something to take home with you.
Ooh, what about a giant ball that all clumps together to make a barbed wire ornament? Is that a thing?
I'm not sure. I know we have two of them outside of our museum that someone did as decor that sits on our fence in the front entrance. But I don't think anyone ever actually has wrapped any up like that. Mr. Trew makes plaques. He puts, he'll take different pieces of the wires and he'll put the history or the patent information on it. And he makes it on plaques so that people can buy that. And we have that now in our back 40 room where you actually can build your own plaque by different wires that are back there that you can buy and make your own decor with it.
Jim, this sounds like a Force Family Day of fun out here at the Barbwire Museum, Devil's Rope Museum.
Speaking of families, I want to actually, Lindsay, I always love a good origin story. What possessed the Trews to do it? I mean, and like I said, I don't mean like it's a dumb idea. I mean, what possessed them to say, because I've always found that sometimes the most fun ideas are like, well, nobody else is doing this, so we need to get on top of this. But what possesses them to do this? Why do they say what we need is a Devil's Rope Museum? We need a barbed wire
Possessed,
museum.
pun intended.
Yeah.
Possessed at the Devil's Rope.
You like that? You like that? Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, all the collectors from all over the United States, and there's some even from different countries. I know we have some from Australia. They would all get together and they would have reunions, and they would share all their displays and their history with people and have them, come out to the different shows and stuff, and they wanted to share their information. But a lot of them were getting to where the displays were getting a little bit bulkier, and they didn't want it to get lost because it is a lot of history, and they didn't want it to be lost in like estate sales or people just throwing it away. And so they decided to come together to find a central location. And at that meeting, the Trews were there, and they knew that here in town, we had some buildings that, could use some love. And so they threw out the name of our town and said it would be a good place because we're kind of in the heart of Route 66. So they thought, okay, Route 66, bring people in to come see that, but also then be able to learn the history of the barbed wire. And people are really surprised when they come in because they're like, I didn't think that there was this much, history, like you said, about barbed wire. And so they're pleasantly surprised when they come in.
I like the people that wander and think they're just going in to look at some wires, and you walk out, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a smarter person now. I went in with wires, came out with all this knowledge. But you're not just barbed wire, because you guys also have the memorabilia from the Route 66 signs, and you have Dust Bowl artifacts as well. So can you give us a brief overview of how all those worlds overlap? Because again, this is a museum. This is we're telling a story here, and you do it through multiple avenues. So tell us how those all connect.
Well, with Route 66, it does come through the Panhandle, and so one of the towns that it comes through is our town. I say it comes right through the heart of our town. So they knew they wanted to include that also. And in our Route 66 room, we have history from different buildings and stores or companies that were here on 66. We have a cash register, I believe it's from a gas station that was in Jericho. We have maps showing all the different towns that it comes through. There's an entire wall dedicated to different members along Route 66 that had some kind of history that deal with it. Either the family had a gas station and they grew up along it, and they share their stories. And then in our Dust Bowl room, the reason that we included that is because the Dust Bowl went from Kansas down, and it affected us. So we have little sections of photographs and even some dust in there. And you can learn the history of what happened and why it happened, and hopefully people can learn from it.
By the way, a couple of quick things, and then I want to ask you about the annual Barbwire show, but also what your plans are for celebrating the 100th anniversary of Route 66 next year. I don't think people know this, Lindsay. One of the ways that actually Barbwire actually helped during the Dust Bowl is one of the few ways that you could tell where things began and where things ended. A lot of that barbed wire actually, allowed people to have some sense of where they were, because people have no idea what the Dust Bowl was like, why that happens, why that occurs. It's an ecological disaster on a grand scale, and barbed wire probably saved a lot of lives back then. I know people say we get caught on it, but if you have people lost their bearings during some of those situations out there. I wanted to ask, you guys have an annual barbed wire show. Can you talk about what that is, and then tell us about what your plans are for 100 years of Route 66 next year?
The Barbwire show is an annual reunion of all of our collectors. They come from all over the United States. We set up their displays and allow people to come in for free to discuss the history of the wires. Also, it's a time for the collectors to trade or barter, or even to buy more wire that they haven't seen, or something that they want. It's basically just a big family reunion for all of us. A lot of these collectors have been collecting together and traveling together for years. So it's a fun weekend for all of us to get together. We've lost a few members, especially this year, to cancer. So it's always good for all of us to get together and share the history of it, because it is slowly dying. There's not a lot of collectors. So we're hoping that by having our reunions, we spread the word, we get maybe somebody else interested in it, and they learn something that they didn't know, or something catches their eye. Because there are lots of different tops. We have rare wires, of course, so that kind of interests people. And then we not just have the wires, we have the tools. So there's tool collectors that come as well. We also try to have some local vendors, a food truck, to try to make it a fun experience and be able to not only learn something, but have fun and maybe meet some new people.
You said Route 66, and it goes through, you said, our town. Are you from McLean, Texas?
I moved here when I was 12.
Okay, so basically.
Yes, my parents moved here 30-something years ago, so.
Okay, so when you were growing up, was that like I grew up in Texas, but Route 66 did not go through my town. But you'd hear the song and you think of the images that it brings to mind. Would kids go when you were growing up? Would you go try to get your kicks on Route 66? Was that something the kids were doing? Is there an actual hangout space somewhere that you're not hanging out on Route 66? Is my question.
No, it's quite funny. The museum itself was a pull for me. Even when I moved away, I always came home and I would always go there. That's where I went to get, my souvenirs, and take whoever was with me at the time that would come visit my family. We had to go there. But I never really thought about Route 66, which is sad, until I started working there. And then I realized, wow, it really goes through a lot of towns, and there's a lot of people trying to share information about it, and they have fun exhibits. So this past year, I actually went with my kids. We did the coin search. So we went down 66 here in Texas and went to a couple of different spots and collected our coins and, saw things. But yes, sadly, a lot of people don't really think about it. It was something that we traveled down, daily. But now it's fun. We see the people coming in. They get us excited because, they're taking pictures and they want to know information and stuff. So I think slowly more people here in town are very, very proud of the fact that we have 66 come through here, and they're trying to bring excitement back to it.
Do you get tired of the song? Do you get tired of the reference? You can. This is a safe space.
I love it. I love it. I love when the people come in and they're singing it, or they have a story to tell about 66. They remember traveling it when they were little. We have a lot of people that travel it during their 66th birthday because of significance. So it's fun to me. I had a gentleman from Israel came in, and he was singing Red River Valley, and he was asking me, is that anywhere near here? And I was like, well, we have the Red River Steakhouse.
That's what he meant.
It was just so funny. Yeah, that he was just so excited that he was in Texas and traveling down 66, and he was talking about the old TV shows that he used to watch, and stuff, and so the Westerns. So it's kind of fun to see people's perspectives. We take this, for granted. It's our home. We go about our daily day, but then you have somebody come in and they're excited to be there and to find out why they're excited. It kind of gets you excited. And so I think it's kind of contagious.
I'm going to actually ask you a question, but it's more of an excuse for me to actually give you the answer of my own version of it. Do you have a favorite version of Route 66? Because there are a lot of different versions of it. Is there one that you love?
Oh, my gosh. I haven't traveled very many, but I
You
know
mean the song?
I meant the song. I meant the song.
Yeah, I mean, the song on the road. I haven't really traveled very much. Just the part of it, just get your kicks on Route 66, and then when he starts naming all the cities.
Yeah, I
kind of love that part.
I have to tell you, my favorite cover of it. By the way, I don't know if you know this, Lindsay. Depeche Mode has a cover of Route 66, but my favorite version of it is still Nat King Cole's. It's so groovy.
I don't know if I've heard that one. I do know the Depeche Mode one.
Oh my God, the Nat King Cole version, Lindsay, is. I mean, I want you to listen to it. It will knock your lights out. It is just so It is the most groovy version you've ever heard before, man. You get your kicks on Route 66. By the way, one more time, tell people where they can go. Tell them your socials and all that stuff, because we love having you on.
I think it's 100 Kingsley Street in McLean at www.barbwire.com.
Thank you so much, by the way. And that was Lindsay in the background, by the way, playing Route 66 by Nat King Cole.
It's actually pretty good. We have a record of it and the song lyrics on one of our walls on the 66.
That's very cool. Everybody head on over to barbwiremuseum.com. Thank you so much, Leigh Anne Isbell, for making time for us today. I feel like your title is so specific, but I like it. The Curator and Manager of the Devil's Rope Barbwire Museum in McLean, Texas. That's so specific. I know exactly what you do now, and thanks for opening our eyes to cool things to see out on the road. I know our listeners appreciate it. Have the best day, friend.
Thank you. Y'all too. Bye-bye.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure. And barbed wire comes my way. Ow!